Greetings, my name is Luke Smith of ruralvacantland.com, and I'd like to make an offer on your Popeyes chicken building in Albany, Georgia. Thank you, Eric Weissman, for sending me information about this building and answering a couple questions about, some details that I had. And so I would like to send, along with this video, I would like to send an offer to purchase this thing, a cash offer to purchase your building, and proof of funds to show that I'm able to pay for this building. A part of that offer, I would like to ask for time to let me market for a tenant to go into this building. Now, who am I? I'm Luke Smith, and I've got a passion for real estate. My passion exploded when I figured out that I could send mail to buy properties. I started buying desert squares years ago for $500. I started sending $500 offers out by studying data and figuring out who might be willing to sell their land. And I sent these low dollar offers out, and some people got back to me and they were just elated and excited that they could sell their land. And so they didn't want to pay tax, didn't want anything to do with it, and they sold me their land. And I said, this is great. Who else can do it? So I studied the data and I started doing databases and figuring out who else might be willing to sell me land like that. I went out and I bought hundreds more of it using data in that fashion. And then later I did $800 offers and $1,000 offers, $5,000 offers, on up and up and up. And somewhere along the way, I ran into high traffic retail properties like this property in the background. And I got some properties that were, vacant land versions of this, like before it was built. And I started studying the traffic and the demographics and the who goes here, the void analysis of what other, restaurant in this example goes and uses this property. If we've got these kinds of neighbors doing this kind of business, who else belongs next to those neighbors that can do the same kind of business? And how much rent can they pay? And who are they? Where are they? How do I get in touch with them? How do I reach out to them? How do I make it happen? And so I started studying that, and some of those high traffic retail properties that I got into, figuring that out, were some of the nicest trades that I did. And so just like those desert squares, I said, how many more of those can I do? And so I started reaching out and going after more of them. And so I've done these kinds of properties in multiple different parts of the country, in lots of different areas. And I've got to know a lot of different people that play in that field. And it started occurring to me and that over time, vacant buildings like this one's not vacant, but maybe out into the future, is the same kind of data dance that it takes to do land. But it can go faster because the building's already there. It's easier to show a building than a piece of land. And it's a little bit tighter fit of who fits that style building versus putting a new building up. And so dialing in that data is something I've already done. I've done that a lot of times and successfully, and it's been fun. And I want to do it again. So I'm looking at your building thinking I can do that. And so I started looking at the data on this one, and that's where I'm coming. So now with that kind of understanding, let's jump into it. I pulled up some data on your building on this Popeyes, and I was looking at the history, and this is cell phone data counting customers that go to the location. And so this is a histogram of how many people visit the location versus all the rest of the Popeyes chickens in the, there's 2,600 of them covered. They have almost all of them, but not all of them. And so the awesome ones would be up here. The ones that are going out of business or already done are down here. This one's getting on the tail end. This is a 12th percentile in the crowd. And that's probably why they are pulling the plug and moving on. It's just not enough sales to be swooning over. And so I started looking at McDonald's. The McDonald's is a good bellwether for the area, like how much business is McDonald's doing, and you can tell like how many people like to eat fast food and stuff. There's McDonald's just like 2 doors up from here. And so I started looking at the McDonald's. And the McDonald's is down in the toilet production-wise here too. This is like a 2 percentile McDonald's. I'm going, oh, geez. So the Popeyes isn't making it. The McDonald's isn't making it. This whole neighborhood's probably shot. I started looking at the crime statistics and I started looking at the income, and it's like, I should just move on. But I didn't. I kept clicking, right? And so there's a Subway across the street from McDonald's, and the Subway's doing pretty well. So there's a lot of Subways out there, and this database has like 14,000 of them. Excuse me. So like 14,000 Subway, and this is up over halfway. It's up over the hump, and that's enough to pay rent. they're 64 percentile. They're paying rent on that location. They should be making some money, depending on what their rent terms are and labor and all their contracts and stuff. But it should be pretty good on that level of customers. And up the street a little bit more is a Burger King, and the Burger King, they're doing 82 percentile. That's a pretty good Burger King. I'm used to seeing these Burger Kings that are really way down here on the tail because they're like shut down, out of business. Time to recycle them, go start over. So to me, this is a really good Burger King. And then up the street a little bit further, there's a Checkers, and Checkers is selling hamburgers just like these others, and they're doing pretty well here too. So they're 83 percentile Checkers. I went back in time. I looked at Checkers in the past. I look at Burger King in the past. I look at McDonald's in the past, and I look at Popeyes in the past. So we're back to Popeyes. Popeyes, 5 years ago, this was like 50, 60 percentile Popeyes, and they've been sliding and sliding and sliding. And if we go, I didn't pull it up for this presentation, but if we go back in history with a street view on this Popeyes, I mean, they used to have a nice sign in the front here. What the heck happened to their sign? They used to have this little ring thing going around the roof. What happened to that? The bushes used to be cut back, so it was a lot easier to see the location and to see the main sign that they got out here. What happened? The bushes, nobody cut the bushes anymore. The paint job started falling apart. Like 3 years ago, this was fresh paint and it was looking good and the sign was taken care of. And like a couple of years ago, the maintenance just stopped happening. They stopped, like, somebody stopped stopping by to make sure the shop is being taken care of. Like, look at the bushes up here. Like, you didn't cut the bushes out of the window. I mean, just lots of this stuff. We got brown palm tree, like, replace that thing. Just basic maintenance stuff. It just starts sliding and going down. And generally, as that happens, the production or the sales go down too. And if you do a facelift of these things, lots of times you can get double the sales or sometimes even triple. There's lots of different statistics on that, different locations and different versions. But, they stopped doing maintenance and the business went down with them. So Burger King, they got the shop fixed up, looking nice, going. And Checkers, and then so I started looking at traffic in the area too. So I pulled up traffic, and so out in front of the Checkers, out in front of the Popeyes that we're looking at, it's 13,800 cars a day. In front of the McDonald's, it's 13,800 cars a day, or 13.8. Yeah, it's still 13.8. In front of the Burger King, it's 14.5. In front of the Subway, it's a little over 14. As we go a little bit further north in front of the Checkers, it's like 14.6. You got a little bit more traffic in front of these other ones, but not much. Not much, really. It's not that big of a difference to do that kind of difference in store volume. So, further up the street, let's do that one. I wanted to go a little further up the street first. So if we go further up the street, I started looking for comps in the area and most recent trades and what's going on, what's happened, who's paying what rent, and how they're doing. And I found this one. There's a Wendy's here at the corner of, I forget the name of this road, Dawson Road and Slappy Road. We're on Slappy and this is Dawson. And so at the corner of these two, there's a bunch of traffic here. It's like 20 and 20. There's a lot more traffic here. Wendy's is doing awesome. They got a great location. Next to them is it used to be Smokey's Barbecue or Jay's Smokey Barbecue or something like that. And they went out of business like 2019 or something. Maybe COVID started. I think they went out even before COVID, and they got foreclosed and they went downhill. But somebody started working that building. They started working it over, redid it. A couple trades later, somebody picked it up and they turned it into Thai noodle sushi and sushi cuisine that's currently on the market. I was looking at the history of this thing, and so that barbecue joint. I mean, they borrowed $375 to buy and open the barbecue joint, and then they foreclosed with a bank at $275. 5 years later, they had a 5-year run before they foreclosed, but they still foreclosed, and then they sold it to somebody who sold it to somebody. So they sold it for $275, and then the $275 people tried for 4 years before they got somebody to go for $200,000. They eventually sold the thing for $200,000. So this building, which is the same size, they're about 3,100 square feet. Yours is about 3,200 square feet. About the same size. Theirs is 1982, and I think yours is 1986 circa. So they're the same not the same year, but kind of the same era building in the same marketplace, almost up the same street. And they sold it for $200,000, and it took them 4 years to sell it. Yeah, COVID was happening in there, so it's hard to pull off. But eventually, they sold it for $200,000, and they did a owner carryback for 90%. So they took a $20,000 deposit um, on the thing and let these guys go for it. And so these guys fixed it up, got Thai noodle and sushi cuisine in there, and now they're trying to sell it. So this is not a name brand, like national brand kind of shop. This is a mom and pop shop, in my opinion or my understanding. They're asking for a 9 cap. They're getting $62,000 a year in rent, and they are trying to sell it for almost $700,000, $695,000. And so that's with a tenant, and there's more traffic up here where their location is. They're next to Wendy's, a big intersection, lots of traffic, more traffic than we have. And that's what they ended up with. So that's the competition. That's the story. That's the market. That's what's going on in this area. And this $200,000 number that they bought this vacant thing for is, I hope yours doesn't end up there. But if we can't find a national tenant, I think that's might be more likely the story of a building of this age and this style in this area. So there's a prime flush live example in the marketplace. So now we're back to this building. I think this building with a national tenant, polished up, resurfaced, new colors, new, taken care of, and a fresh brand in there that people want to go try and enjoy and love with in today's markets, that belongs next to these other good shops that are happening there, can make this thing worth a lot more money. And so I would like to go reach out to who I believe goes here and market to them. I would like to send them letters. I would like to send them email. I would like to call them. I would like to chase them around. And when they show some interest, so like grab them by the ear and drag them over here and tell them, get in this building. It's I'll pay for it. I'll pay for the fix up. I'll pay for the marketing. I'll pay for whatever. What does it take to get you into this building? Let's come up with a deal, come up with rent, come up with terms, and work it out with them. When I get one of those people that's interested to go after this building, I want to come back to you and I want to say, okay, it's ready to go. This is who these people want to go for it. I want to buy this thing. I want to close fast as possible. It's a cash buy it from you, and then go work it out with these people that want to run with this building. So that's why I'm asking for some time, is I want to go chase these people down and tell them how great of a building this is, because there's awesome numbers in the Burger King and the Subway and the Checkers up the street. And I'm just going to leave the McDonald's part out, I guess. But that's the story of your building. So that's how I see it, and that's what I think is capable here. And I'm hoping you'll give me a chance to go find those tenants and make it happen. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.